With me are two lifelong enthusiasts of the creative industry. There is J. Brandon Hill and there is Preeta Mathur. Preeta Mathur has been in theatre for 30 years, and J. Brandon Hill is a thief of great ideas and a thief of watches over here. So this time he has stolen his time out from cinema and got into theatre. He is directing a play called Much Ado About Nothing, and now we have Preeta coming on board in the play, and they are making it in theatre this time, and I don't know how many more shows they are going to have of the play. So first of all, Preeta, what brings you to theatre?
See, what brings me to theatre is not the right question. The thing is that I have been with theatre all along. So it's like people ask me, still doing theatre? I said, yes, still doing theatre. So, and I'll continue to do theatre. I have been doing theatre since I was in school, and it has slowly grown into a big passion for me. So when I got a job in Bombay, I got a job specially in Bombay, so I could come here and continue to do my theatre along with my job, which could help to sustain me, so I would not have, that kind of a struggle, so, and be able to do the kind of theatre I wanted to do. I joined IPTA, Indian People's Theatre Association, and luckily for me, I managed to do quite a few good roles there, and I managed to learn from quite a very, very big people over there, very experienced people who've done very well in theatre. And always my objective was to, be part of Ank, Dinesh Thakur's Ank. So that is another story, but with a little difficulty, I got into Ank, and I had to pursue Dinesh for a while to get into this theatre group, and unfortunately we lost Dinesh in 2012, but we are committed to carrying forward his legacy, and here we are. And for the first time now, we have decided to do an English play. And what better to start with than Shakespeare, and who better to start with than J. Brandon Hill. So here we are, about to open our play Much Ado About Nothing.
So J. Brandon Hill has a very interesting history. He is one of those few people who moved from USA to India long ago, not the last 5 years or 6 years, where we see a lot of globalized citizens. So he's now he has added one more interesting twist to his tale. He's moved from cinema to theatre, if only for a bit. So first of all, J. Brandon Hill, what brought you to India, and what brought you to Much Ado About Nothing?
Well, two completely different things. What brought me to India was I've always wanted to live someplace else other than America. So why not India? And here I am for that. And I became an actor here because I was an actor back in the third world country where I used to come from. What brought me to Much Ado is it's simply my favorite play. I did it back in New York 4 or 5 times. So where better to do it than here in India, with Preeta.
And what brought you to theatre after doing cinema for so long, after all those big movies? Did it take you away from cinema, or is it bringing you closer to cinema?
As Preeta would say, that's the wrong question. I started off in theatre. Cinema took me away from theatre. Now, theatre, I'm coming home to theatre. Preeta has brought me home. I'm home in theatre. I'll probably go back and visit cinema because, I need money, because other than that I have to keep stealing watches. So, so the answer is, again, the wrong question. I'm back home in theatre. But I will rent a flat out in cinema world.
So, J. Brandon Hill and Preeta,
Mathur.
with you I asked you this question, that people who are doing cinema or television, should they be doing theatre?
I think that depends. Probably not, because if they've studied only cinema and only have experience in cinema, they will be exposed because there are limitations that you develop as a cinema actor. You don't have to memorize the whole script. It's basically, like I said, running theater, being in theater is like running a marathon, whereas during cinema, it's like a series of short sprints. Theater requires stamina, commitment. Cinema just means just sort of show up and do what somebody tells you. Wouldn't you say so, Preeta?
See, what I would say is that if you're really serious about your craft, you want to know what acting is all about, you want to live the role which you're playing, the character which you're playing, then the only place to learn and grow is theatre. Film will never give you that opportunity to grow or to learn. But yes, what you learn in theatre, you grow in theatre, you can apply to cinema. Of course, there are other things in cinema which theatre doesn't teach you. You know, how to face the camera, your look and all that kind of thing, which you will learn soon enough. But if you're really serious about the craft of acting, of creating something, then theatre is the place for you. And I also conduct a lot of workshops, theatre workshops, and people who are coming to me to do theatre or to learn acting are not doing it just because they want to live in theatre. They want to go to film and TV and they have to earn a living. But they also know, and it's quite understood, that if you really want to learn, theatre is the place.
Right, because the thing is, it's easier, if you're a theater actor, it's easier to go to film, because you just have to, it's much simpler. But to go from film to theater, is much more difficult.
Can theatre sustain you? Can you make a living out of theatre? Can you buy a few flats and Mercedes? or do you have to travel by bus?
See, I knew from the very beginning that theatre would not be able to sustain me, and it's a fact that theatre cannot sustain you. Luckily for people now who want to do theatre, there are a lot of other things they can do in related fields, in acting fields, like, learn editing and things like that, do production. There are opportunities which you can do and still be in theatre. That was not there much earlier, before this. But for people with a 9-to-5 job who want to continue to do theatre, which like I did, that has become more difficult now, because there are no 9-to-5 jobs now. So if you are in a 9-to-5 job every day of the year, then you have to really work very hard to be in time for rehearsals and things. But with related fields, like if you're doing a little bit of television, if you're doing a little bit of voicing, this and that, you can continue to do theatre. But theatre is not going to sustain. That is for sure.
So, J. Brandon Hill, what do you think is the benefit of doing a play as a director?
I don't know. As opposed to doing a play as a Sasquatch or as a watermelon? Well, no. I mean, the thing is, it's difficult. You can't just wake up one day and say, I think I'm going to direct a play. You have to, there's a lot of things to consider. I don't know what you're talking about.
So,
I can do that.
So tell us about the relevance of Shakespeare in theatre, in the world of literature, cinema. You've chosen Much Ado About Nothing. What is the history of your having chosen Much Ado About Nothing?
Well, first of all, again, you've asked partially the wrong question. Because Shakespeare is not literature. That's the problem. People learn Shakespeare as literature, and it's boring as hell to read as literature because it's like running through mud. It's supposed to be watched. Nobody 500 years ago said, I think I'm going to sit down and read this play. First of all, most of the people are literate. But the reason why, so Much Ado, it happens to be my favorite play. So I love doing it. It's also the world's first, or at least not the world's first, but certainly probably the first romantic comedy that's been written down. Because every romantic comedy pretty much follows the pattern of Much Ado About Nothing, where, for instance, she and I, we played this couple, and we always love each other, but we fight, we get together, we break up, we do this. And basically, for 500 years, every romantic comedy has followed the pattern of this one. Wouldn't you say so, Preeta?
Yes, I think so, because if you look at Much Ado About Nothing, when you read it, when you watch the play, you'll find that our Hindi films, which have been from long Bollywood, old Bollywood films, everything has been following that pattern of liking each other, then running away, then being apart from each other, or a big catastrophe happening and the love breaking down, or they're about to get married and things go wrong and then they come together again. So this is a pattern which was first introduced by Shakespeare, and every other romantic comedy, film, theatre story has been following this in some way or the other.
So let me close it with a very personal question then. What is that one moment in the play which has also played out in your own life?
I'd rather rather not say. Preeta?
Well,
Okay,
there are quite a
okay.
few-
I think Preeta will have the courage to say something.
no, there are quite a few moments which you can relate to as people. So it's that, especially when, Benedict and Beatrice are sparring. And, Benedict gets the better of me. I'm playing Beatrice. So I'm like most irritated, and it's a war of words. And I think I am much more, better educated, better at the argument than Benedict is. But, he sometimes gets the better of me. And that's how irritating is that for a woman. So, I mean, that is something I can quite relate to. And there are other instances, where things don't work out and, because of circumstances which are not in your control, things just go bad and you're so helpless because you have a father there, you have an uncle there who says what should be done and you cannot, go against him because you're the woman and you're some second-class citizen in that society. So, I think it's very relatable.
But
Lot of instances.
But we've also had fun with this play because I've taken some, for instance, Beatrice's aunt, Antonia, originally supposed to be Beatrice's uncle, Antonio. So we've shifted the gender of one or two major characters and to point up what pretty much is a feminist aspect in the play, we've sort of heightened that.
So, for example, like Brandon is saying, Antonio was a character who was also the judge of this place, Messina, in Italy. But he made that character Antonia, the sister, instead of the brother. So now Antonia, this woman, is the judge, which may not have happened during Shakespeare's time, but we wanted to make a point there and, wave the feminist flag a bit.
Well, it
and,
certainly didn't happen because women were not even allowed on stage.
Right.
So your role would have been played by a man.
Yeah.
Probably a man like him. It would have been us.
So,
Benedict Beach is over here.
So a very
Benedict Beach, I'm talking. Benedict Beach is over here. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
so being in the midst of theatre people, there's always entertainment. Any last words, Brandon and Preeta?
My last word would be Brandon and Preeta. And come see Brandon and Preeta in Much Ado About
Nothing.
or Kuch Nahi for you Hindi speaking people.
No, I would definitely say that definitely this is not the last word. We're going to bring many more words and you have to come and watch Much Ado About Nothing. You have to come and watch our play Hi MERA DIL, which is the longest running comedy in the history of Hindi theatre. Also come and watch Jis Lahore Nahi Dekha. Whenever we have it, we will be doing the 401st show very quickly. So please keep coming. Please keep watching theatre. See you.
So I think this was just a bit of a lot in their lives, and the interesting part is that Preeta has done more than 50 plays and 5,000 shows, and J. Brandon Hill has also done more than 50 plays apart from numerous movies. So there's a lot of entertainment to be expected in the play, and we hope that there are many more shows of the play. So thank you everyone.
Thank you.
And thank you, and thank you. She's not generous when it comes to clapping.
So you can see what